Once, in a small village by the sea, there lived a fisherman named Marcus. He was known for his courage and calmness, even when the storms raged over the ocean. People often asked him, "Marcus, how can you be so fearless when the waves are high and the wind is fierce?" He would simply smile and say, "The storm does not control me. I control my thoughts." Marcus was a student of Stoicism, though he had never read a single book on philosophy. He had learned its lessons from life itself. His father, a wise old man, had taught him that fear was not in the events around him, but in his mind. "You cannot stop the storm," his father would say, "but you can choose not to be afraid of it." One evening, as Marcus prepared his boat for the next day's journey, a terrible rumor spread through the village. A great storm was coming, stronger than any they had seen in years. The other fishermen rushed to pull their boats ashore, their faces pale with fear. But Marcus continued his work, undisturbed. His friend, a man named Lucius, approached him with trembling hands. "Marcus, don't you hear? The storm will destroy us. How can you stay so calm?" Marcus looked at the horizon, where dark clouds were gathering. "Lucius," he said, "tell me, what is the worst that can happen?" Lucius hesitated. "The storm could sink our boats. We could lose everything." Marcus nodded. "And if that happens, will worrying now change it?" Lucius shook his head. "No, but—" Marcus interrupted gently. "Then why let fear steal your peace before the storm even arrives?" This was the heart of Stoicism. Marcus understood that fear was not about the future event, but about the stories we tell ourselves. The storm might come, or it might not. The boat might sink, or it might survive. But suffering twice, once in imagination and once in reality, was a choice. Stoicism teaches that we must separate what we can control from what we cannot. The weather, other people's actions, even the fate of our boats, these are not in our hands. But our thoughts, our judgments, our courage, these are ours alone. When we focus only on what we can control, fear loses its power. The next morning the storm struck with fury. Waves crashed against the shore, and the wind howled like a beast. The villagers huddled in their homes, praying for safety. But Marcus stood at the edge of the sea, watching. He was not reckless. He had secured his boat as best he could. Now there was nothing left to do but wait. Lucius found him there and shouted over the wind, "Aren't you afraid?" Marcus turned to him. "Afraid? No. I have done what I can. The rest is not mine to command." Lucius stared at him, confused. "But what if the storm takes your boat? What will you do?" Marcus smiled. "Then I will rebuild, or I will find another way." Fear does not feed my family. Action does. By evening, the storm had passed. Many boats were damaged, including Marcus's. The villagers wept over their losses, but Marcus walked among them, helping where he could. He carried no anger, no despair. When they asked him how he remained so strong, he said, "Stoicism does not teach us to avoid hardship, but to face it with a clear mind. The storm was never my enemy. My fear would have been." Over time, the villagers began to listen to Marcus. They saw that his way of thinking brought him peace where others had only worry. He taught them the simple truths of Stoicism. First, accept what you cannot change. Fighting against reality only brings suffering. The storm will come. Boat may break. Accept it, and you take away fear's first weapon. Second, focus only on what you can control. You cannot stop the wind, but you can prepare your boat. You cannot force others to help, but you can offer your own hands. Action, not fear, is the answer. Third, remember that hardship is a teacher. Every storm, every loss, every fear that is overcome makes you stronger. Without challenges, there is no growth. Years later, when Marcus was an old man, a young boy asked him, "Were you ever afraid?" Marcus chuckled. "Of course, fear is natural, but I learned not to let it rule me. Stoicism does not make you invincible, it makes you free." The boy frowned. "But how? How do you become free?" Marcus looked at the sea, calm under the evening sun. "By understanding that fear is just a thought, and thoughts can be changed." And so, the lesson was passed on, not in grand lectures, but in simple words, in actions, in the quiet courage of a fisherman who knew that the real battle was never against the storm, but against the fear inside. This is the power of Stoicism. It does not promise a life without fear, but a life where fear does not decide your power. The next time you feel afraid, ask yourself, what can I control, or what can I not? Focus on the first, let go of the second. The storm may come, but you will stand unshaken. Because in the end, fear is just a shadow, and shadows disappear in the light of a strong mind.